Welcome to Rad2, another daily reader for Reddit. Like and subscribe for daily Reddit videos. TIL. During the American Revolution, an enslaved man was charged with treason and sentenced to hang. He argued that as a slave, he was not a citizen and could not commit treason against a government to which he had no allegiance. He was subsequently pardoned. It's funny that a person that was considered at the time to be literal property of another human being that he'd even get a trial in the first place. Surely his owner should have been tried for treason. After all, their property did it. Banning slavery won't work. A bad plantation owner determined to own slaves will find someone to enslave anyway. We did give a trial to an elephant and execute it. They put a chicken on trial for being homosexual, then killed it. I bet it tasted like chicken. Figure it would taste like Pen 15. There's an interesting scene in Lincoln where the president tries to explain the legal paradoxes of declaring slaves free in the context of determining whether the southern states are in rebellion or are legitimized foreign states in a state of war. I decided that the Constitution gives me war powers, but no one knows just exactly what those powers are. Some say they don't exist, I don't know. I decided I needed them to exist to uphold my oath to protect the Constitution, which I decided meant that I could take the rebel slaves from them as property confiscated in war. That might recommend to suspicion that I agree with the rebels that their slaves are property in their first place. Of course I don't. Never have. I'm glad to see any man free. And if calling a man property, or war contraband, does the trick, why, I caught at the opportunity. Now here's where it gets truly slippery. I use the law allowing for the seizure of property in a war knowing it applies only to the property of governments and citizens of belligerent nations. But the South ain't a nation. That's why I can't negotiate with them. If in fact the Negroes are property according to law, have I the right to take the rebels' property from them? If I insist they're rebels only, and not citizens of a belligerent country? And slipperier still, I maintain it ain't our actual southern states in rebellion but only the rebels living in those states, the laws of which states remain in force. The laws of which states remain in force. That means that since it's states' laws that determine whether Negroes can be sold as slaves, as property, the federal government doesn't have a say in that. Least not yet, then Negroes in those states are slaves. Hence property. Hence my war powers allow me to confiscate him as such. So I confiscated him. But if I'm a respecter of states' laws, how then can I legally free him with my proclamation? As I done, unless I'm cancelling states' laws. I felt the war demanded it. My oath demanded it. I felt right with myself. And I hoped it was legal to do it. I'm hoping still. 2 years ago I proclaimed these people emancipated then, henceforward and forever free, but let's say the courts decide I had no authority to do it. They might well decide that. Say there's no amendment abolishing slavery. Say it's after the war. And I can no longer use my war powers to just ignore the court's decisions, like I sometimes felt I had to do. Might those people I freed be ordered back into slavery? That's why I'd like to get the 13th Amendment through the House, and on its way to ratification by the states. Wrap the whole slavery thing up, forever and a dense reminder that law only occasionally runs exactly parallel with morality, but usually in maintaining control. Law only occasionally runs exactly parallel with morality, of course. How would you create laws for a country where the population don't agree on the proper set of morals otherwise? Laws are compromises. Always. In anything short of a tyranny. My dad loved politics and political science in general. Something I learned from him was that every law cuts down the freedoms of one group to give freedoms to another. Laws against murder infringe on a murderer's freedom to murder to give others the freedom to be safe from murder. As a society, when we form laws we need to carefully consider what groups will be infringed, and what groups will be validated, protected. Which freedoms are more valuable? Honestly, this is impressive. He is aware that of contradictions and seeks way to do it that wouldn't involve hypocrisy and law breaking. Keep in mind this is a scene from a movie and not the real Lincoln. We must also keep in mind, however, nobody has ever actually seen Daniel Day-Lewis and Lincoln in their same room. Speech 100 plus 10% to persuade. Edited to avoid confusion with D&D. Really ominous to see a Wikipedia page with just one name, Billy. Slave. Quote, nobody knows exactly when he was born or when he died. People celebrating this TIL in the comments forget that although he was granted life, he still spend the rest of that life as a slave. This is like when your abductor leaves you in the trunk for more than 15 minutes and technically being allowed to leave. Has a tall and strongly built person ever been kidnapped? Thinking face. Stone Cold Steve Austin was kidnapped by The Undertaker. Expected this to end with, he was subsequently granted citizenship and hanged. Thanks for watching Rad 2. Like and subscribe for daily Reddit videos. If you like these videos, check out the original Rad channel.